Hello to you here at Oprah Daily. We love to celebrate people who are making incredible contributions to our world. So today, we're going to be talking to someone who's making contributions beyond our planet. Who could that be? We've got a keeper for you. In our series, Future Rising is what we call it. We celebrate Black Americans who are trailblazers, the people making history at this very moment, moving entire industries forward and shaping a future for us all. So who are we thinking about today? She's a NASA astronaut. Her name is Jessica Watkins. We're going to be speaking to her directly from the International Space Station. That's right. Right now, she's up in space, floating around, hanging out, doing experiments. But first, we want to tell you a little bit about her journey getting there.
3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. And liftoff. Go Falcon. Let's bring it.
At 3:52 on April 27, 2022, astronaut Jessica Watkins launched into space, making history as the first Black woman to embark on an extended mission. By the time her feet touch back down to planet Earth, she will have spent approximately 6 months living and working on the International Space Station, all before the age of, get this, 35. Growing up in Maryland, Watkins attended Judith A. Resnick Elementary, where her interest in space travel first peaked, while learning about the legacy of the school's namesake. Resnick made history back in 1984 as the second American woman and fourth woman ever to travel to space. After that, Watkins had her heart set on becoming an astronaut, but she wasn't entirely sure that could happen. So she took that passion and poured it into something closer to Earth. Watkins discovered she had a love of rocks. Yep, rocks. Eventually earning a doctorate in the field of geology from UCLA. But before she officially became Dr. Watkins, she attended Stanford, and in between studying environmental sciences and completing undergraduate internships, she helped to lead the women's rugby team in a national championship, scoring the winning.
Love Black woman, I swear. This woman is excelling in every single thing she touches. Gotta love a Black woman.
Gold. It was all of these moments that led her to NASA. Watkins says rugby taught her how to be on a team and work together as a member of an astronaut crew. And all that time studying structures and substances?
CO is 165, HCl is 3.3.
Well, that sure made her a great candidate to lead experiments examining surface materials of other planets. Something that will come in very handy as her crew conducts their research to aid future trips to Mars. And also perhaps why her team lovingly refers to her as the rock nerd.
Ladies and gentlemen, the newest astronaut, Jessica Watkins.
Watkins is only the fifth Black woman in history to travel into space. In 1992, NASA astronaut Mae Jemison became the first Black woman in space. Aboard the Space Shuttle Endeavour, she logged just over 190 hours orbiting the Earth. Jemison was followed by NASA's Joan Higginbotham and Stephanie Wilson on separate missions in 2006. Wilson is a veteran of 3 space flights total, logging about 42 days in space. And just last September, in 2021, private astronaut Dr. Cyan Proctor became the first Black woman to pilot a spacecraft during SpaceX's Inspiration 4 mission. That's an all-civilian spaceflight that orbited Earth for 3 days. Watkins is proud to build on the legacy of these bold women of color.
Our first and most favorite part about being on Dragon so far is definitely the view.
Her extended stay will not only be an historical feat for Black women, but her mission will have a massive impact for the future of space travel for all mankind. Jessica, hello, hello, hello. I'm so glad to see you.
Hello, Miss King. It's a true pleasure to speak with you.
Let's first start with this. You can either call me Your Highness or Gayle, not Miss King.
Okay, those are good options.
Yes, or Beyonce works too. But Jessica, I remember when you took off in April, So you've been up there for over a month now. I was reading that you've dreamed about this your entire life. So this is a question. What's it like when dreams come true?
It is such an honor and a blessing to be able to even answer that question. It is everything that I dreamed it would be, certainly. I'm just so grateful to be able to be in this moment, and so grateful to everyone that has supported me, mentored me, and enabled me to get to this point.
But you said it's everything you dreamed it would be. I don't even know what that dream looks like. What did you dream that it would be?
I think just the process of being selected as an astronaut and getting to train as an astronaut, which is what we've been doing for the past few years. And that process in of itself was an amazing journey. And then to be able to join this awesome crew, our crew 4, and really be up here and be able to see the Earth from this vantage point, have this perspective, and then get to participate in some amazing science and maintenance while we're up here.
It was 2017 that you found out that you were a candidate to be an astronaut. As a little girl growing up, what was it that fascinated you about being an astronaut to begin with? You know, I was dreaming of Barbie's dream house and getting Barbie's next outfit, maybe getting a date to the prom. I couldn't even say that space was on my radar. So I'm curious, as a little girl growing up, what you saw that you thought, this seems very cool. Because when I look at it, it seems very scary.
Please let me know in the comments exactly what is it that you dream of? What is it that you want to accomplish? Let me know your goals.
Story is kind of a testament to the importance of mentorship and role models. I went to an enrichment after school program at the Judy Resnick Elementary School. And I remember coming home or in the car with my parents and asking them who she was and what she did and her story, and learning about her life and what she was able to accomplish, I think, is what kind of sowed the seed within me and kind of encouraged me that this was something that I could do and something that I wanted to do and wanted to pursue.
So now she was a hero to you, Judy Resnick. And now I think a lot of girls, little girls, are looking at you thinking, Jessica's now a hero to me. I think that's a very cool thing. I want to talk about your important work, though, as a geologist, because you're studying planets like Mars. You're also looking at research projects that you're doing now on the International Space Station, studying the long-term effects of microgravity on the human body. And how does all of this directly affect our own future?
Yeah, absolutely. You nailed it. So we are super excited about the science and technology demonstrations that we're able to do up here on the ISS because of the impacts that it has on life on Earth now, as well as we look into the future, looking on to the moon and to Mars, how we can apply what we learn up here to those exciting adventures. In particular, you mentioned that I am a geologist. So for me, the idea of being able to see landforms and processes on the Earth and be able to apply them to other planetary surfaces. So we can look at something like a landslide, for example, which is what I did a lot of my work on in graduate school. You can look at landslides on Earth, and that can give you some indication that will help you understand how and why landslides occur on other planets like Mars or the moon. And so to be able to do that now from this vantage point here on the ISS is just one example of how we can use what we're doing up here to help propel us into the future.
Do you actually see a world, Jessica, where humans are actually living in space in space long term? Do you see that?
Yeah, absolutely. And the beauty of it is that we're actually already living it. So the ISS has been operating for more than 20 years, continuous presence in space with astronauts on board. And we just had a new vehicle come, a new Boeing vehicle as part of the commercial crew program that NASA is heading up. And so through that program, we're able to have different kinds of vehicles, different vehicles that can get more astronauts on board. And eventually that will continue on to all make that available to all humans on Earth. So I certainly see that future and see it starting now.
Well, you know, Jeff Bezos has a thing down here called Blue Origin, and they reached out to me and said, you know, are you even remotely interested? I went, nope, no thanks. I'm a very, very nervous flyer. So I'm curious, what does it feel? I know you're laughing at that because you would think that's a piece of cake. That's That would be no problem for you. But I'm wondering what it's like, what it feels like up there. What do you do?
It is definitely a very different kind of sensation up here than down on Earth.
Yeah.
But also the same time, as unfamiliar as it is, and in terms of the space environment, the microgravity environment, it is also very familiar to us. And the reason for that is because we have such amazing training. All of our instructors on the ground have really prepared us to come up here and get to work. So it kind of a day-to-day, daily experience for us involves doing lots of different science experiments. Right now, I'm looking across at the Columbus module at my crewmates who are performing an ultrasound on each other. And that's just one example of the kind of human research that we do up here, where we're looking into the physical and cognitive effects of long duration spaceflight, again, with hopes of applying that into the future. We also do maintenance. So we're keeping this space station operational, perpetuating its legacy, both inside and outside. We are also prepared to do extravehicular activities or spacewalks if this situation arises. So every day is different, which is super exciting and keeps us on our toes.
Yeah, every day is different. Jessica, that's what I say about my job on the news. We got a lot going on down here. It's a very sad state of affairs, a lot going on. But I say this too, every day is different. I know that you and your team have crossed paths on the space station with another crew that includes cosmonauts. So what's it like being a representative for the United States working on this team?
We often say that we are at such an advantage just to be able to be kind of the tip of the spear of just this amazing team of people with all kinds of diverse skill sets and expertise that they bring to the table and work together to accomplish what otherwise would be impossible. And those teams include the NASA team of engineers and scientists and operators, but also our international partners across the globe. One of my crewmates is Samantha Cristoforetti. She is a European Space Agency astronaut and from Italy. And then, as you mentioned, our cosmonauts are cosmonaut colleagues as well from Russia. So plus we have our Japanese colleagues in scuba and our Canadian Space Agency colleagues as well. So we have is just a testament to what we can do, what we can accomplish when we all come together and use all of our resources.
Do you believe promoting diversity in your industry is really crucial to improving international relationships?
I do, absolutely. I think, diversity is super important and just crucial to being able to come up with new creative ideas and new solutions as we encounter new problems. Diversity is going to become even more important to be able to tackle those problems going forward. And I think that's the direction that we're going to be going and that we're going to need as we try to take on going further and further into the solar system.
Now, I heard about something, and I think this is very cool, called the Artemis mission, which is promising to land the first woman and person of color on the moon. I think that is very, very cool. And chances are, maybe that could be you.
I am certainly super interested in being a part of the Artemis program, the Artemis missions. The idea as a planetary geologist in particular, who's looked at rocks from afar, it'd be amazing to be able to get boots on the ground and really pick them up and check them out.
A planetary geologist. Jessica, what does a planetary geologist do?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I am trained in Earth geology, regular geology, and what we do in order to do planetary geology is really take those kind of fundamental processes fundamental principles that we know about Earth and apply them to other bodies. And so we can factor in things that are different about those planets. So there are different atmospheres, different gravities, different amounts of water or composition that we expect, and then kind of put together a story based on our imagery and compositional and other types of data, topography data, to put together a story of what's going on the surface and what has gone on in the past. So we can start to ask and answer questions like, was there water on these bodies, and eventually, was there ever life?
Well, I don't have a vote, but I would certainly vote for you, Miss Jessica. But I am curious about what would your words be? What would you say on those first steps? Have you given that? You have some time, but what would you say?
The idea that we are going back to the moon, going back to stay for a long term, and that my colleagues, my friends in the office, that it will be us that is participating in that is just super exciting. And we'll definitely have to think really hard about exactly what whoever that person is says.
And the other thing, I was reading that you just had a birthday up there. What did you do to celebrate? Jessica, you turned 34 in space. How cool is that?
It did. It was very, very special. It was just an awesome opportunity to be able to celebrate with my crewmates and reflect a little bit from such an amazing place. We were able to make a cake. One of my crewmates made a cake for me with our space provisions, with the food that we have available up here. The cake was actually delicious.
And what's your message to little girls of color who are looking at you right now? You know, they always say you have to see it to be it. You have to see it to believe it. And you are certainly someone that people can see and believe.
Make sure you leave in the comments some type of inspirational message that you will leave to the younger version of yourself.
And inspire.
I appreciate that. It certainly, as you're saying, it mattered to me growing up to have role models and mentors in roles that I aspired to participate in and contributing in ways that I aspire to contribute. So in any small way, to the extent that I'm able to do that and return that favor, I'm honored. And to any young girls of color, young children in general, I would certainly say to find something that you are passionate about and just pursue that relentlessly. Find mentors and people who will encourage you and walk alongside you. Find opportunities to pursue this passion and don't take no for an answer. Don't give up and dream big.
I so agree with don't take no for an answer. You know, when you look at no in the mirror, it actually says on backwards. So I look at that as game on. I'm with you. Don't take no for an answer. I want to know how you view the future. So if you could fill in this blank for me, the future is...
Well, I think there are a lot of words you could fill in there, which is good, is very exciting. But I think the future is very bright. I think particularly coming from my vantage point here, thinking about STEM and the possibilities and the future in terms of science, technology, math, and space flight in particular. I think right now we are in such an exciting time in human space flight. We have the most vehicles we've ever had going to and from the International Space Station here. We have we're working on the Artemis missions going to the moon. Thinking about Mars, we have private missions as well. So there are we are just teeming with excitement on the horizon. So I definitely am excited about the future.
Before you go, I hear that you can do a really mean backflip up there. I am curious about why you're not floating right now. There must be something holding you down, right?
So there's a handrail at my feet that you can't see.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, I would be bouncing off the walls
I
in
know.
here.
I know. I always think that's a cool look. So before you go, can you give us a little backflip? Is that okay?
Absolutely. I'll do my best.
Okay. That's all we ask. That is so cool.
It's still a work in progress. I've only been up here a month.
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give you a 10, Jessica. I would give you a 10. Please know we are cheering you on always, always. And Oprah says, hey, bye.
Thank
This video is super beautiful, super important. Let me know in the comments exactly what it is that you think about this video. How could you not love a Black woman? Everything is so groundbreaking about Black women. You know, day in and day out, they show up and show out. Let's have a conversation.